Tervetuloa digitalisaatio- ja asiakaskokemustrackille. Useat teistä oli varmaan tuolla päätrackillä äsken ja tosiaan erittäin paljon tervetuloa tänne digitalisaatio- ja asiakaskokemustrackille. Minun nimi on Bäckströmin Katja ja vastaan täällä Elisalla CX Digitalisaatioratkaisut kokonaisuudesta ja toimin tässä tänään tämän studion moderaattorina ja pyöritetään täällä useita erittäin asiantuntevia vieraita ja puhujia pitkin päivää. Usein on kysytty sitä, että miksi digitalisaatio ja asiakaskokemus saa minut innostumaan. Minulla on pitkä historia siitä, että ollaan kohdattu erilaisissa tilanteissa tiimien kanssa erilaisia business-haasteita, erilaisia muutoksia toimintaympäristössä, joita on sitten lähdetty ratkomaan erilaisilla teknologioilla. Mutta erityisesti se, mikä minua motivoi, on se, että aina teknologioihin, aina muutokseen liittyy ihmiset, ihmisten johtaminen, ihmisten adaptoituminen siihen uuteen tapaan tehdä töitä. Muutama käytännön asia ennen kuin mennään itse tähän ohjelmaan. Eli nyt jos olette tottuneet katsomaan lähetystä sieltä fullscreen-näytöltä, niin aktivoikaa ihmeessä mobiiliin meidän viestiseinä, koska tämä track ei tule olemaan pelkästään puheita ja kalvosulkeisia, vaan me tullaan todella voimakkaasti tarvitsemaan teitä keskusteluiden merkeissä. Ja meillä on pitkin päivää erilaisia kyselyitä ja polleja, jotka on todella tärkeä osa tätä koko ohjelmaa, että jaetaan näkemyksiä ja kokemuksia pitkin päivää. Ja tosiaan sitten, jos ette pidä siinä fullscreen-moodissa ruutua, olette siinä alustalla niin, että siinä näkyy se näyttö, eli tämä striimi, ja sitten viestiseinä, niin kaikki pollit ilmestyy myöskin sinne viestiseinälle, eli silloin ei tarvitse eri ruutujen välillä hypellä. Hyvä. Ensimmäinen esiintyjä tällä digitalisaatio-asiakaskokemustrackillä on Microsoftilta Corporate Vice President Brad Anderson. Ja Brad toimii Microsoftilla Experience Devices-osaston varatoimitusjohtajana. Ja Bradin tiimin ylpeyden aiheita ovat asiakaslähtöisyys, dataohjattu toiminta ja erityisesti kasvuun pyrkivä ajattelutapa. Varmaan nämä 3 menestystekijää ovat johtaneet Bradin ja Bradin tiimin siihen tilanteeseen, että ovat pyörittäneet useiden miljardien dollareiden bisneksiä ympäri maailmaa. Ja tälläkin hetkellä Brad tiiminsä kanssa vastaa noin yli 200 miljoonan aktiivisen käyttäjän kokemuksesta ja laitteesta. Mutta nyt annetaan puheenvuoro Bradille. Brad, ole hyvä.
Hello Finland, it's so great to be with you today. I'm grateful for Elisa putting on this conference and the ability to come and talk to you about some of our priorities and some of the core things that we're doing in our strategy to help you as you empower your users across all their endpoints. So I'm going to give you the presentation today from my Duo. You know, I've had one of these since May of this year. It is a game-changing device. Let me turn you around and kind of show you what I've got here. Kind of give you an idea of how the 2 screens work. They're up on the top is the actual slides. I can put that into a play mode, and then the bottom is the individual slides that I can actually use to look at what's coming as well as work on them. But to tell you, the dual screens, it's an absolute game changer. It's been a lot of fun working on this. So let me just kind of share some of the things that we've learned as we've gone through the pandemic. First of all, the work experience that users have is of paramount importance. And ensuring that with the modern workplace, users can be just as productive and the content can be just as secure when they're working from everywhere as when they're working in the office is one of the core things every customer is looking for. Now to do that, conditional access is the thing that every customer has to get deployed. We are well north now of 100 million monthly active users that have conditional access deployed. That is our zero trust solution, and it is the best zero trust solution on the market by far, and we'll talk more about that as we go on. And then the final thing to talk about is, the work from everywhere is just going to be the new norm. We're not going to go back to everyone's going to be in the office all the time. So a hybrid work environment where sometimes you're in the office, sometimes you're not, is going to be the absolute norm. So those are the design principles that we've been working on across all of Microsoft 365. Now I wanted to share with you some recent research that came out from an organization named ESG. ESG went and did some research right in the heart of the pandemic, back in April and May. And they were asking CIOs and CISOs, Tell us what your future investments are going to look like. And you can see here on the slide what they're saying. 40% are going to increase their investment in cybersecurity. 35% are going to increase in remote and telework. 28% in mobile endpoint devices, and 27% in enterprise mobility management. You look at those 4 of the 5 areas of prioritization that's going to get increased funding. It's all modern work. And the one that's not is public cloud. I mean, Microsoft is so set up for success. We've been investing for years in these areas, and it just happens to be what every customer is looking for now. Now, when we talk about the modern workplace, we talk about that complete, intelligent, secure workplace to empower employees. The way that I really simplify it is it's that modern workplace that is loved by users, loved by IT, and trusted by all. Users love it because it empowers them to work wherever and however they want. IT loves it because it delivers all of the abilities that they require, all the reliability, the security, the predictability. That's all part of it. And trusted by all, users trust that their privacy is being protected, and IT trusts that the company data is being protected. And that is really a difficult thing to do, and it's taken us years to get all of the work done across Microsoft 365 that delivers that empowering experience that is also secure in a very, very simple way. And that really is at the core of what Microsoft 365 is. And I want to go back and give you some more insights on some additional research that this research organization named ESG has done. They just completed a set of research where they went and spoke with 800 customers across North America, Germany, India, and the UK. And what they did is they asked every customer a whole series of questions and then did some interviews. And what they did is they classified every one of the 800 as either an average user of Microsoft 365, below average, or above average. And then what they were able to do is they were able to then see the impacts on employee sentiment, on productivity of the organization and productivity of IT as organizations move from either below or average to above average. And the findings are fascinating. So just to kind of give you a mental model, if you're just using a couple of the services in Office 365, you'd be classified as below average. If you're using a couple of the Office 365 services and then say, 1 or 2 of the EMS services, you would be average. To be above average, you're using the security capabilities, you have conditional access turned on, AADP, Intune, Teams. And so let me just show you some of the data. First of all, 210% higher user satisfaction with the remote work experience. That's key to every customer we're talking to right now. 81% more likely to say that technology experience increases retention. Your people are happier, they're more loyal. 76% more likely to say that Microsoft 365 helps them delight customers. 91% of them lowered their device management costs after adding Intune. And then they actually were able to reduce those management costs by 18% if they went from average to above average. And they reduced it by 63% as they went from below average to average. Stunning numbers. And then finally, what they saw was across all of the employees, they saw a 13% average increase in productivity as they went from average to above average. And if they were below average, it was a full 44% increase in productivity. They really are just stunning results. Now this document, this research is all available. And this is one of the pieces of data I would suggest you put into the hands, into the inboxes of all your customers, because it is really interesting research. Now the other thing that came out in this was they did some research about the organizations that were above average. How does IT and how do the users feel about security updates on Windows? And it's fascinating, if you take a look at the data here, if you were above average, you were 2.7 times more likely to say that security updates are not problematic, both from an IT perspective and from an end user perspective. And so this is really all about helping our customers modernize, move to these services, and as they do that, they get more secure, they simplify their back end, they're more productive, and it's just a better user experience. So let's define modernization here, because there's a lot of conversation in the industry about modernization. As I think about modernization of the endpoint, it's fundamentally built upon moving parts of the edge up into the cloud. And you think about it for a few minutes, Office 365 has all been about taking the Office workloads and moving them up into the cloud. Now what we're seeing, and what we've built inside of Microsoft 365, is the ability to take the management control plane to the cloud, identity, security, and then use the new modern edge browser. So at the heart of modernization is moving those control planes up into the cloud and then starting to take advantage of all the insights and the AI, the intelligence that we're able to generate because of all the data that we have to work on. Now, it's interesting, in this ESG research, I'm the management person, so I got to talk to you a little bit about management. Of those 800 customers that they interviewed, 96% of them were using Config Manager to manage their Windows PCs. That's just incredible share. And as we go forward, we need to make sure that we keep that share and actually build on it. Now, to give you an idea of just how fast the world is moving, one of the things that the pandemic has done is it has accelerated the move to the cloud. You know, there's customers that I've worked with for 5-6 years who had, you know, just blocker after blocker to get to Office 365 and EMS. Now with the pandemic, they can't get there fast enough and they've got the full support of the organization. And just to give you an idea of what's happening on the management control plane, a year ago, 5% of all of the Windows 10 devices that were being managed by Microsoft Endpoint Manager were cloud attached, meaning they were either pure Intune or had Intune attached. Today that's at 19%. It's very easy to see how over the next year that goes to 30 to 35%, and within 2 years, more than half of the Windows 10 devices being managed by Endpoint Manager will be cloud attached and taking advantage of that. So the message that I tell customers is, if you are not cloud attached today, you're beginning to fall behind. So let me tell you a little bit about our priorities and the areas that we are specifically prioritizing our investments in over the next year. First of all, it's all about helping you modernize that PC experience. When I say modernize that PC experience, it really is about attach it to the cloud, get rid of all the agents on the endpoint, move that work up into the cloud so that you can dramatically improve your end user experience. And as you do that, also make your organization more secure. We are investing to make sure that we are the leader across all of your different platforms in terms of the management capabilities that we bring. So let's go into a little detail about the areas that we are prioritizing right now, our investments. First and foremost, it's all about helping you modernize and cloud connect your Windows 10 devices. And this is really all about, if you're a current config manager, attaching Intune and using all of MEM. And this is all about helping you to take advantage of all the new capabilities in the cloud. We are investing to ensure that we provide leadership capabilities in managing all of your platforms. Of course, we're investing across all of Microsoft 365 in these end-to-end scenarios, like conditional access, like data loss prevention. And that is an incredible amount of work that we do on the back end that just simplifies everything for you in IT and presents that great user experience. And then finally, we are really investing to expand the scenarios that we deliver from the cloud. You know, more work for SMB customers and the partners that service them, more investment around education, and more investment around enabling the frontline workers or the first line workers to use all of Microsoft 365. Now let me give you a little tease on what's coming at Ignite in my session. There's an incredible amount of announcements, and it's all done through demos. And the demos and announcements I've categorized into 4 areas. The first area is all about the work that we're doing to help you enable your users to work from everywhere. That is the new norm. Some incredible things that we're going to announce there. The second is all about helping you improve the end user experience. Third, we'll talk about the work that we continue to do to bring management and security together. And then fourth, we'll give you some insights into the work that our ecosystem is doing on top of MEM, as MEM has become this hub for managing all of the devices. Now let me just make sure you understand when I say Edge is the best browser for business, why that is the case. First and foremost, you know, we just have a greater history of delivering the privacy controls that organizations need. Our heritage is so deeply rooted in the enterprise, and inside of Edge, you just have pure and simple more privacy controls. Second, one of the things I love about what we've done in Edge is as you search in Edge, not only does it search the cloud, but it searches your internal efforts as well. I love this personally because I can never remember where some of the internal assets are, but when I go in and just do a search, it searches everything in internal and external in one place and gives me back what I need. The third thing is we've taken all of the security and management that we built in Microsoft 365 and EMS, and that's integrated into Edge, just like we have the Office mobile apps. And so you have this wonderful experience and this wonderful solution for managing and securing all the Office apps and your browser in the same way. Conceptually, we think about Edge in the same way that we think about Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It's another app that your users live in. You know, it's well understood that Edge is just a much more efficient use of your hardware and of your capacity than Chrome is. That's one of the things I've heard from my friends as I've encouraged them to use Edge. Almost inevitably, they'll come back and go, I can't believe how much better my PC performs because Edge isn't taking up all of the capacity, all the memory. And then the final thing, and this one may sound strange, but with Edge, you have better compatibility for your apps. And you might be thinking, how can you have better compatibility? Edge is based upon the same Chromium engine that Chrome is. True. So you have compatibility for all of the web apps. But it also has Internet Explorer mode built into it. And many of you, if not most of you, have internal applications that were built for Internet Explorer. And so when you use Edge, you get all of the IE compatibility, you get all the compatibility from Chrome, better compatibility for your apps. Now, I want to give you an update on the Aperture program that we worked on. We announced it a year ago, and we basically said, hey, Microsoft's going to take the responsibility for doing your compatibility work. And we promise you, if you find an application that's either incompatible with Windows 10, Office Pro Plus, or Windows Virtual Desktop, call us, and you literally call my engineering team, we will fix it. Now, one of the things that we're doing is we're going to extend, or we are extending, the Aperture program and that promise to be inclusive of Windows on ARM. You know, my primary device now is an ARM device. I love it because it's thin, I have an all-day battery, it just is a wonderful device. But some of you may have thought, what if I have an application that doesn't run on the ARM processor when Windows is running on ARM? Hey, no problem. The Aperture program applies to that. Call us. Again, you'll talk to my team. We'll either fix Windows or we'll help you fix your application so that it is 100% compatible with Windows on ARM. Now, I want to talk a little bit about meeting rooms. You know, as we think about the new hybrid work experience, meeting rooms will only become more important. We're seeing the acceleration of rooms coming online as everyone's been coming back into the office. When I say hybrid work, you know, I think about most organizations, you're going to live in teams. Sometimes you'll be in a room and sometimes you'll be remote coming in through through a device. But the team room is critical, and you want to ensure that one, it's secured, and two, when the user comes in and says start the meeting, that it just starts. And that's why we built something called Microsoft Teams Room. And Microsoft Teams Room is a solution that, we've worked with all the OEMs, those devices that sit in your conference rooms, to ensure that they are manageable, that they are secure. And then we've also offering what we call Microsoft Teams Room Premium. And Premium is a full service, it's a fully managed service from Microsoft for my team, where we help you and ensure that your rooms are always up to date, they're always secure. We have all this AI from the tens of thousands of rooms that we manage. We can see an issue in one room somewhere in the globe, and we understand what that issue is, and then we automatically go apply that learning to rooms across the globe to ensure that one, you're always working, and that you're always secure. And so, give you an insights on just what we find with Teams Room. It's one of these tweener things. Most organizations, in fact, the research that we have done, over 70% of organizations come back and tell us they don't have the expertise to understand how to manage their Teams rooms. And so what often happens is these Teams rooms go kind of unmanaged, and it's actually pretty surprising how often the compromises come in through the Teams rooms. My push to all of you, the endpoint managers, is it's your responsibility to take that mantle and say, hey, these are Windows devices or these are Android devices. I'm going to manage them just like I do all Windows and Android devices. So with Microsoft Teams Room and the premium solution, you're going to see all that integrated into Microsoft Endpoint Manager, so you'll have that ability to manage it. Now look at some of the research that's been done here. And you can see that from a research perspective, we were able to go out and quantify what the savings are as you come in and use one of these services. What we found here is that on average, we can help an organization save up to $400 per room per month as they let us manage and secure their team's rooms. And our price on this is very, very low. So if you haven't had a chance to check out Microsoft Teams Room and Microsoft Teams Room Premium, please do it. So let me just end with what I see happening in the management space right now. And what I see happening is, a mass movement to the cloud. I see mass as an acceleration of organizations saying, hey, one of the things that we learned from the pandemic is we're more agile the more we have in the cloud. So we've seen these phenomenal growth of organizations either moving to Intune or attaching Intune to Config Manager and really using all of Microsoft Endpoint Manager. And so I just wanted to kind of give you a view of what I think your path is, and if you're a partner, what the path is for you to help your customers go on that modernization journey. And you can kind of think about it as the big three: tenant attach, co-management, cloud only. And so for most of the world, you're starting from a place where you're using Config Manager to manage your PCs. The first thing that you should do is go do a tenant attach. It literally is like just a couple touches, taps, clicks of the mouse. And as you attach Intune to your Config Manager deployment, all of this new value starts to flow to you immediately. It has got to be maybe the lowest cost, highest return thing that you could do today. Then as you think about, what your path is as you want to move more and more to the cloud, enable co-management. And what co-management allows us to do is we can have both the Config Manager and the Intune agents on a single device, on a single PC, managing it, and ensure that there is no conflict set, because we've done all this work to ensure that the Config Manager and Intune are working closely together. Let me tell you why this is so important. You don't come in tomorrow and say, hey, I'm going to move from Active Directory and Config Manager to AAD and Intune. It's not that simple. It doesn't work that way. Many of you have got, thousands, in some cases 10,000 applications in your library that you've created in Config Manager. So what co-management allows you to do is say, hey, I'm going to start adding cloud capabilities to my Config Manager deployment, and then one workload by workload, you can move that up into the cloud, but it does it in a way that's less risky for you. You do it step by step, and you can preserve all these investments you've made, like the millions of dollars you put into your application library. And then finally, if you want to do cloud only, you can move entirely up into the cloud. But if you want to stay in a co-management model where you're using both Config Manager and Intune forever, that's fantastic. We will enable you and support you that can be a destination. So that's what we're working on in Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Microsoft 365. There has never been a better time and a more fun time to be working on endpoint management, endpoint security, and user empowerment. Thank you.
Kiitos Brad, kyllä oli paljon asiaa pienessä ajassa. Yksi ehkä nosto, aivan vielä virtuaaliuploadit. Yhtenä nostona omasta arjesta, mikään ei puhuta niin paljon työntekijöiden näkökulmasta kuin ylimääräiset kliksuttelut ja turhat napsautukset siellä työpöydällä. Ja monien tutkimusten mukaan nimenomaan käyttäjäkokemus niillä IT-järjestelmillä ja desktopeilla vaikuttaa siihen, että kuinka tyytyväisiä työntekijät ovat. Ja mikä vielä tärkeämpää, niin me kaikki tiedetään, että AI tulee, AI tarvitsee syödäkseen dataa, ja jos esimerkiksi asiakaspalvelussa tai sitten myynnissä on epämukavaa käyttää sitä järjestelmää, niin sinne ei tulla syöttäneeksi sitä dataa, sitten meillä on datakuralla AI ei toimi, ja joudutaan ihan uudenlaisiin ongelmiin kuin koskaan aikaisemmin, eli todella painavaa puhetta ja asiaa Bradilta.